Now tell me, doesn't it often happen to us that while we are strong at our technical skill, we have practiced and prepared what we want to say, when it comes to speaking in a space, in a formal setup, we go blank. Words don't come out of us, we are more conscious, we are overwhelmed with either the people who are sitting and listening to us or just with the surrounding. If that has happened to you, it's absolutely normal and there are ways to deal with it. Hi, my name is Shreya, and if you want to enhance your presence, purpose and style, then this channel is for you. So in this video, I have 3 simple and effective tips to ensure that your speech is enhanced and your presence is uplifted. Number 1, watch out for the foregons. Foregons are filler sounds that we take out to fill up the blank space. When we don't have the right word coming to us, or when we are fighting for the next sentence, in our head we are thinking of what next to say, then we fill that blank space with a forced sound like example. Hi, my name is Shreya. I speak about executive presence, and in this session I'm going to talk about body language and so you see, we often do this, but we don't realize we do this because as speakers, when we are in the momentum of speaking, we don't realize that we think we are speaking and ums and ahs are a part of our speech, but to the listener it's a huge distraction because there's just too many of these sounds which are just forced and they don't add anything to the speech. So how do you get rid of them? First of all, you've got to watch yourself perform, you've got to listen to your own speech. So before any big event or whenever you want to speak, just record your own performance, speak whatever you intend to speak in that meeting or wherever, and listen to how many foregons do you have in, let's say, a 5-minute speech. If they are too frequent, too many, then you've got to watch out. But first off, it's really important that you record and you listen to it, because that's how you're going to get more aware and conscious about these foregone sounds. Now that you're conscious and aware, you've done the first step. So next step is to replace these ums and ahs with pauses and mute. That's the best way to get rid of foregons. Now that you're conscious that these ums and ahs could be coming in your speech, so while you are speaking, when you're about to pause. Example, hi, my name is Shreya. I talk about executive presence, styling and body language, voice. You see, this is better. I know in the beginning you're going to feel this is awkward. I mean, who pauses and who gets silent suddenly while speaking? But this is far more effective because you're cutting out the distraction, and that's the key when you want to enhance your presence while speaking. Number 2, eliminate weak language. Weak language is anything that does not add value to your speech. Now, weak language could be just frequent usage of certain words like I mean, like, actually, basically. When we frequently use these words and keep bringing them up in our speech, the message just gets diluted because we're not adding anything new. We are saying the same thing in a different way. Doesn't make sense. And weak language is also in the form of sentences. Example, so what I'm trying to say to all of you is, this sentence is not required because you'd rather say, rather than saying the full thing, what I'm actually trying to say is, it's irrelevant. It's not adding to the message at all. Now, I understand this practice is hard and sometimes it just feels unreasonable as to why do I have to keep pushing to be more precise and specific. But trust me, when you practice this, your speech is going to be far more refined and purposeful. And that's what we need when we are speaking in important occasions where time is less and impact and value in our words matters the most. Another thing that I learned some time back, which has been very effective to cut down the weak language is, so take any beverage that you like, let's say coffee or tea, and if you're taking it in a cup, just fill your cup half with coffee and the remaining half of the cup should be filled with water. And you keep this next to you and switch on your recorder and start speaking whatever you want to. And each time there is either a filler or a foregone, or you say a weak language or a weak word like actually, basically, I mean, you know, like, too much of these words, you sip that diluted coffee or diluted tea or juice. It'll taste blah because it is diluted, and that's what's going to make you realize that maybe this is how the listeners feel when they listen to our weak language. This is a perfect exercise to practice and ensure that you get rid and off your weak language. Number 3, wherever possible, replace the word very with an actual adjective. So let's say you want to say you're happy. So sometimes people say, I'm very happy to meet you. Instead, you could say, I'm thrilled to meet you. You've just reduced the unnecessary word and you've just added more meaning to your word by adding the appropriate adjective. I'm fascinated with the subject. When you use appropriate adjectives, your language becomes rich, purposeful, and more meaningful. Sometimes using superlatives also helps, like saying welcome. Instead of that, you could say you're most welcome. That just adds a lot more emotion and adds to the intensity of the message that you're wanting to say. Speech is incomplete without voice. So the next point, number 4, is to use vocal emphasis wherever required. Emphasize on certain words, exaggerate the sounds of certain words to ensure that the audience or your listener gets the message with the tone and the intention with which you're trying to say it. For example, I have never tasted such wonderful rice. So that little emphasis that I had on never, that just added a little more meaning to what I wanted to say. Or, it is such an honor to speak at your forum. So that emphasis on such just makes the other person feel that I am really honored to be speaking in that person's forum or in their group. And finally, I cannot wrap up speaking about speech without talking about body language. And hands, my friends, are speech enhancers. So point number 5, whenever you set out to speak, please do not forget to use your hands purposefully while you speak. We all know that we are supposed to use hands, but how relevant our hand gestures should be to the speech is what matters. And hands, as I said, are speech enhancers. They just give more momentum to our speech. They bring out more words to our mental memory, to the mental lexicon. So some ways of using hands are by showing growth and expansion, and by contrasting it with something absolutely opposite, or showing some steps, laying emphasis on certain points. In fact, I made a video on hand gestures a few months back, and in that video I'm mostly talking about the power of hand gestures and how they enhance our speech. So you might want to check the video out. Hope you like these suggestions. I have used each and every one of them. So they are 100% tried and tested, not only by me, but also all my clients, and we've seen fantastic results. Do try and let me know which points worked for you the most. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.